This is not an interview. There is no format. This is simply a conversation about life.
I had a look at your Instagram.
Thank you. All right.
I had a little look at your Instagram. You know, you're very comfortable with yourself.
Um, yeah, somehow, sometimes, yeah. I try at least.
Yeah. So do you ever think, so you have this corporate job now, essentially. Do you ever wonder if someone's going to look at your Instagram and be like,
I mean, sometimes I do, but a lot of times I just, I have a different account, which is my business account. So for corporate, I just use that one and make sure it's not so easy to go into the other one. But at the same time, if someone gets on the other one, I feel like if someone would judge me based on that, it would just be their loss, because we already know what I'm capable of. And that doesn't mean anything in the end. And what I'm comfortable with and what I do outside of the job field is it's not anyone's problem somehow. And each and one of us has a different side of how we are and how we like to express. So I think we're in 2021. So the judgmental thing should already be, let's not go there. Right. It's not fair. Yeah, of course, sometimes I do think about it, but then I feel like it's more accentuated because growing up in Romania, especially after communism, communism mentality and fright still linger in that country.
Okay.
A lot, in the way that we get raised and, the way that we act and do things, it's still very much present. So I think that fright was implemented to me from there of, oh my God, what if someone from home sees it? Or, even when I came in Berlin after so many years, I still think of, oh my God, what if someone sees this and then they judge me and then I'm going to lose all my chances of doing anything. But then I have to remind myself that, wait, you're not in Romania anymore. So it's not exactly like that. It's fine. But at home, I mean, with the new generation and my friends at home, everything is fine. But if I would show my parents, for example, that type of thing, there's probably going to be a huge shock, especially for my mother, who's in politics also and everything working. So it's going to be like, no, if they're going to see it, I'm going to get in major troubles. Yeah. But my father is a different thing because he's more, he left home when he was 14 and moved to Russia in the communist times. And then he was just kind of like me. So he's like, he knows that whatever he tells me, I'm still going to do whatever I want. So it's like, all right, at least you do it well, just do it, Yeah. But yeah, it's always a readjusting through, your personality and how you show it to the outside world somehow.
Okay. And so that's like the corporate side of it, right? And then you have your personal social side.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something going on with that as well, right? Like,
I guess. For me, the corporate side is, I still don't feel like it's a part of me. I still feel like it's just something that is going to be done temporarily. I don't feel like that is necessarily made up for me, at least not in that way. I am not used to working for someone in that way. I'm used to having, of course, my own gigs, my own shootings for my clients, but I'm not used to working in a corporate environment and depending completely on someone else's rules. And that's, and even here, like, you needing my expertise, but actually wanting me to follow only your guidelines and not, like, you not realizing what is actually good for yourself and not wanting to do that. For me, it's like, yeah, this is where it kind of ends. I don't know. I hate absurdity. So I feel like there's no balance somehow in the corporate world. We need your expertise, but at the same time, you're going to do everything we say. And when we're going to be upset about that, it's going to be your fault. So that for me is like, hey, it doesn't work like that.
Okay, so then now that's where it becomes interesting. And I think the fact that you have been operating self-sufficiently, you know what it is to be able to, like, the power of being able to say, I'll just leave. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a huge difference in perception of how you have to live your life.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's always this fright on the back of everyone's head of, oh my God, but will I be able to, like provide for myself again and everything? But then when I think about the unhappiness that a job like this brings on the long term,
Mhm.
it just, no, whatever, I'm going to move, I'm going to do something else. It's not worth it depending on scraps from someone just to know that I can pay a rent.
Mm.
Because then I remember, but no one is actually keeping me in this place. No one is forcing me to stay here. I can do anything else in the end. So
Right.
as long as I take that one risk, I'm sure it's going to be fine. So I just trying to work like that somehow.
Okay, so how did you get this? Was this something that your parents taught you, or is this something you figured out for yourself? Or
No, my parents being born in communism, of course, they were used to having the same job for 30, 40 years and just growing in that job. Like my parents started from super low, like super poor. And my father has like 8 brothers and sisters. So he left at 14 because, I mean, family couldn't provide for so many people.
Mhm.
My mom was born in a very poor family, so she had to study a lot so she can get out of there and do something for herself. So I basically watched them growing until this point that I'm very proud of them.
Mhm.
But I was also not the type of person that believed in working hard. I always believed in working smart and just kind of like there are ways to do it different.
Mhm.
And I know that for them was hard, because if you're raised knowing only one thing, it's hard for you to consider other options
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
But somehow when they realized that they can't force me into anything, somehow
Mhm.
they said, all right, just do it your way.
Mhm.
So yeah, I studied art, so I was basically head in the clouds all the time and believed in all the fucking bullshit. Sorry if I'm
Okay.
um
I,
so I
I I've
just
heard that word once or twice. Yeah.
yeah, I think you know about him. So I just took chances each and every time. And when I came to Berlin, I honestly came with 800 euros in my pocket after working for my mom's company with
Mm.
no job and a room to stay for 1 month. And I
Wow.
said, well, it can't be worse than home in the
Yeah.
corporate. So let's see.
Wow. Yeah. See this. I mean, I do think that there's only like two or three different kinds of people in the world, and like the people that understand this, and because this is very similar to my story. Like I came to Berlin with 2 suitcases. I had a friend that was going to let me have her flat for 3 months. I had no job. I
Yeah.
didn't know any. I mean, well, it was a little bit different for me, I guess, in the sense that, like, fortunately, because of my music stuff, people knew who I was, but I didn't know who anybody else was, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So essentially, I was like on my own. But I did the same thing in Montreal. I lived in Montreal before Berlin. I came there. I didn't know anybody. I had a deal to. I had this roommate. We just talked on the phone once and just agreed, no matter how good or bad it goes, that I would stay for at least 3 months.
All
And
right.
and so that was it. You know what I mean? And and somehow I made it work. I didn't speak. I mean, well, they do speak English there, and they do speak English here. I don't know if I could go somewhere that's like full on English that's not really.
I think it makes it even more interesting and it tests your limits beyond, a capacity that you can actually understand. Like, can you do it? Can you not? And I've always been this person who hates comfort zones somehow. Like, whenever I feel I'm in a comfort zone, I get, I don't know, in a very toxic pattern. So that's why I know, all right, it's time to move on.
Okay. See, and every time, and I found that every time I pushed that little comfort zone, I was like, I'm gonna, because I don't
All right.
even cross out of my comfort zone. I just push it open. You know what I mean? Like this is now,
Mm-hmm.
I have more comfort zone. And
Mm-hmm.
the things that you do every time you do this, it makes you more like I could do that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. So all right, okay.
Yeah.
I'm giving you mad props because I
Well, I also, I mean, if I think about how it was 6 years ago, I would definitely not do it like that anymore. Like I wouldn't have the guts to do it like that anymore. I feel like, you get older, you mature, you get comfortable with different other things at different levels. And I'm turning 30 this month, so I would definitely not move with 800 euros in a country that I don't know anyone and have no job and no place to stay. It's very excluded at this point. But at the same time, I would move, and I am moving in the end in a few 2 months, I guess, maximum. But I made sure that I have everything I need to make this process easier for me and create the experience different at a different level. But yeah, I wouldn't do it as crazy as when I was 23, for sure.